Hello and welcome to RPG Research. This is our weekly administrative meeting on Mondays from about 6 to 7 p.m., 6:30. It varies in the actual amount of time. Oh, wonderful. My computer battery just ran out. Great. I forgot to plug it in. So we generally just kind of cover what's coming up this coming week, kind of let everybody know what our schedule is, coordinate who's going to be where, let people know about our community programs this week so you can join us, and then whatever training and such is going on. So in case you're new to RPG Research, we're a 501c3 nonprofit studying the effects of all role-playing game formats and their potential to help improve lives. I am Hawk Robinson, founder and president of RPG Research.
I'm Daniel Diar. I'm a contributor, and I'm from Brazil.
Yeah, he's up visiting from Brazil, from Sao Paulo. He's here all week visiting.
Mm-hmm. And I'm Danielle Whitworth, and I am the treasurer.
I'm Shane Dean. I'm a GM volunteer, trainee, and all-around cheerleader.
I'm Carolyn, and I'm just a visitor.
You're helping as a volunteer.
And she's my wife. And I am John Wilker,
You're not
Vice
on any of
President
them.
and
Uh-oh.
curmudgeon.
There he is.
Professional curmudgeon.
Let me take this. And then later tonight, we have a special guest game master, Carla. She'll be running us through Doctor Who once again. She'll do a wonderful job with that. So that'll be, as soon as the administrative meeting is over, we will hand the reins over to Carla. We will stop the video recording and switch it to a separate video file. So if you're watching the recorded version, if it's the live version, you can skip the administrative meeting and go straight to the Doctor Who if that's what you're interested in. So we're setting up for that at the same time. We're also joining us remotely.
Hello, I'm Anna. I am a trainee and all-around volunteer. Seeing where I will fit in once I learn a bit more about the program.
So glad you could join us. And then hopefully joining us soon will be Brooke, who is our volunteer coordinator and director of fundraising and marketing. What?
I'm not important.
Okay, well, we'll get so hopefully she'll be joining us soon. And then off camera, but he'll be taking my seat once the admin meeting's over, is
Riley, yay!
Yay, Riley.
Yay, Riley.
You are
I am a player archetype specialist.
volunteer, yes.
Yes, I'm also a volunteer. That's
Yes, we're all volunteers. It's 100%
I'm an
volunteer.
unpaid volunteer.
Yes. And so for this week, what we have coming up, so today we have Applied Gaming, and that again will be Doctor Who. Lets people be introduced to different kinds of game systems, some of the pros and cons. What we do like about Doctor Who is it has some of the behavior modification features to discourage choosing violence as the first action, which is great for working with at-risk populations and such. It tends to be story-driven. It's by Cubicle 7. This is not the FASA version. This is the Cubicle 7 version. I did play the FASA version long ago and enjoyed it as well. Same with the old Star Trek. It's a quick. You can pick up the system very quickly. So unlike Star Wars, which interpreting the dice can be very difficult and take a while to get the hang of, the dice here are just 6-sided dice, and you dice pools, and it's pretty straightforward. And yet there's enough complexity to keep it interesting. It's not too simple. And again, story-driven, and we really find that useful. Then tomorrow, Tuesday, from 9 a.m. to noon is our weekly researchers meeting. Now we have added a new researchers meeting on Sundays from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. for those who can't make the weekday researchers meeting. The main reason we have the Tuesday one at that hour is Omar in Saudi Arabia. By then it's like 10 o'clock at night, so we can't really go. I can't get up that much earlier consistently, but that is as late as he can handle. Actually, I think by the time he finishes, it's like 10 o'clock at night. So for him, it's a decent hour, and so those who are in that time zone, that's a useful time slot for them, so we keep that going. Wednesdays are generally when I focus on going through applications, doing interviews, and then also catching up on a ton of paperwork, trying to write documentation, the books, training manuals, etc. Thursdays from 4 to 5 p.m. we have the RPG Talk Show, so John and I do the talk show then. And then now John's taking over the meetings on Thursday nights from 6 to 9 p.m., which alternate between theory and application. So this Thursday will be theory discussion. John, what will we be covering this Thursday?
This Thursday, we are going to discuss the history of role-playing games, from their origins as a war game to modern days, including the controversies or the troubled times for role-playing games.
The trouble, as you say.
Yes, the trouble.
Interesting, that kind of parallels a little bit. The troubles were pretty high during that time. So the history and controversies of role-playing games, you'll be covering that Thursday from 6 to 9 p.m. And John will be having Thursdays. The following Thursday, what are you running for a game?
The next Thursday, do you have it on my schedule?
Should be. No, I think I left it up to you what games you wanted to run. So you'll have to figure it out what you want.
I will figure that out and
Let people know.
I will not only let people know, but I will discuss what people need the most.
Okay.
Do we need AIM or do we need Dr. No, I mean,
Well, remember, we also have to evaluate the superhero games.
correct.
Although probably I need to be around for those, so that's probably needs to be on Mondays.
But do we need, we have a bunch of people that don't know how to play, or just one person doesn't know how to play. No, thank you, Evil.
Right. That's up to you.
Yeah.
So,
I can take care of that this weekend. That's not a big deal.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, it's a pretty quick and easy game. So that's Thursday. Then Fridays are every week. Except for if there's a fifth Friday, we have our community programs, and so this one's going to be, since it's the first Friday of the month, we use the wheelchair accessible RPG bus and RPG trailer, and we will be at the street corner of Market and Empire in Hilliard. Right there, right next to the Zips, but right there on the street. We'll set up, you walk up to it on the sidewalk. There's parking there. And anybody is welcome to drop in an RPG from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. at the corner of Market and Empire in Hilliard, which is a suburb of Spokane. And so each first Friday, we take the bus and the trailer to a different street location each month. The following week, we'll be at Sparks Central Community Center, downtown. The week after that, we'll be at the Deer Park Spokane County Library. So that'll be a new location there. We've been doing it up at the North Spokane County Library the last few months, and the next one will be at Deer Park Library. So that's in March. And then the fourth Friday, we'll be back at Sparks Central. And I'm hoping by then, I'll have locked in some Saturday slots. I'm hoping either at the Sullivan Care Center or one of the other long-term care centers for senior adults. And or possibly, depending upon how negotiations go and such, at Shriners Children's Hospital for disabilities and such. These are a couple, there's several in the works. There's also the Lilac Center, which is the Deaf and Hard of Hearing Center over on Howard and Boone. So these are all places we're looking at for a Saturday, like 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. session for those who can't do the Fridays because of work. For the game masters to be able to get their practice out, and also other populations to experience with other populations. Right now, you guys mostly begin experience with at-risk youth, some learning disabilities, but mostly younger crowds. And I want to make sure you guys get exposure to a wider range of populations as part of your training. So that's all in the works. And then Saturday, for now, is our GM workshops. We have moved that. It used to be 9 a.m. to noon. We've moved that to 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. for now. We're at some point going to move those to Sundays at the same time. But for now, they're on Saturdays. And so the GM workshops are very much targeting Game Master training. Who do we have signed up for this Saturday? What do we have?
The Saturday is the training for our social network, and then if we
that's
don't,
RPGSN,
or if we have
whatever's
any
left
extra
over.
time,
That's only
I
going to take
will-
about an hour. So everybody, if you can make it, this is to train you on how to use RPGSN.net. This is our intranet. This is how I'm trying to get all of us to communicate on one platform instead of 6. It has chat rooms, it has forum, it has blog, it has timelines. Basically everything that you find under Twitter, Facebook, Google+, Tumblr, all of that is all on our server, internal, private. You don't have to worry about commercials and harvesting your data. It's on our physical servers, not somebody else's servers. And it's behind you have to have a login, and it's only by invitation. We will hopefully someday have other partners join us, I hope, but it'll be always by invitation. We don't have the resources to run it publicly. That would just be a full-time job, just trying to deal with that.
Just the moderators alone.
But because we've become so international, so we have, 55 volunteer, we're at volunteer number 55. That doesn't mean we have 55 active volunteers, but each new volunteer that joins gets assigned a number, and we're at volunteer number 55. And about half of them are here in Spokane, and the rest are around the world across 4 continents. Dan's one here from down in South America and such. And we have across the United States, Canada, Europe, and the Middle East. And so this has been a challenge with the different time zones. And I'm trying, I've got to train, and now John's helping with the training. And
Hi, Brooke.
Yay, Brooke's here. Welcome. So that's why we have all these different time slots for people who can't make one slot. We try to make it available for another. But then getting to know each other on a more personal level, I'm hoping this intranet will help with that, because you're supposed to post a photo and share a little bit about yourself and why you're doing this, and make more of a human connection about why we're all doing this. And then help each other out, right? So as we are all at different levels of training, John and Danielle are the most senior next to me that are currently here right this
I'm
minute.
old.
And so, you can ask questions and share, and I'm hoping it will become a more vibrant community there. I wish it could be a public, open community. There's just too many issues with that, with bad actors and such, but there are going to be at least 50 to 100 people on there by the summer minimum. So there should be plenty of chances to share and get to know each other and ask questions. And Shane's been doing a great job posting questions, wanting to know. There is a thread in the forum saying, hey, share why you're with RPG Research and why you do this. Let us know about what motivates you and such. So if you haven't posted on there yet, please do.
Yeah, because I just wanted to know what brought everybody else
Yeah.
in. So
Yeah, it's a great question. And
Who's lost?
each of you has your own blog, and if you post a blog there, it's not public, so you can share your thoughts, your questions, etc. But if it's a good blog posting, I may ask, hey, do you mind if we put this on the public site? Because we also want the public community engaged on certain topics. But we'll always ask first. Our researchers, this is part of their normal release process, but for everybody else, they're like, hey, that's a great topic. Can we put that up on the site? Omar did one about gaming in Saudi Arabia. He found a store that was running a tabletop role-playing. That's the first time in his town. And it turns out they're trying to create a Saudi Arabian, an Arabic LARP in their town by this summer. So then I've been talking to people who in Palestine who have created an Arabic LARP in Palestine recently. And so I'm trying to help them get the information to help them with their creation.
that would be cool.
Yeah, that's what's cool is this internet and this international connectivity. But we have to take a chance and put ourselves out there. But at least if it's in our intranet, it is a very safe place to put yourself out there safely. It is not Facebook. It is not Twitter. It is not Google. It is not out there publicly. And so you
won't be
can
fired
share.
10 years from now.
Yeah. You can share a fair
Something you
amount
did when you were 12.
and ask questions for feedback, suggestions, and ideas, and we can all help each other, because that's what we're all here, to do ultimately, for different reasons and different motivations. But we're all helping each other to learn and grow and do what we love to do, which is with the role-playing gaming, and for some of us, the music. So, welcome, Brooke. Anna is also there remotely, by the way.
You want me to turn on the
Awesome.
For you.
I don't know for Brooklyn.
They're not on the screen.
Yeah.
Oh, it's not on.
No.
Oops, sorry.
Let me just fix
Yeah.
that.
Yes, please go ahead. You know how to do that?
Alright, so.
It's not the camera. It's not the camera. It's the window capture of the browser.
Yeah, the one that's up right now.
Yes, you got it. Okay, good job. Nicely done. Hello, Brooke. How are you doing? So you were at EWU as well today, huh?
Yep, all day.
Blood drive?
Yep.
Cool. How'd it go? Besides freezing wind.
It was good. It was a makeup drive for a drive we canceled 2 weeks ago because of the weather. So, well, for being put together at the last moment.
Cool. Cool. So lots of people had their veins sucked dry, huh?
A little warmth they had
Lots of
left.
vampires. Yeah, Dan was with me there. We were talking to Emily Messina, who's the head of the Therapeutic Recreation Department at EWU at Eastern Washington University, talking about potentially his being in the program. And you want to talk about that? Briefly?
Sure.
Briefly.
Briefly, I'm very interested in the program because I personally have benefited a lot from the techniques of therapeutic recreation, even though formally I have not been through a therapeutic recreation through a therapeutic recreator. Where I've been receiving coaching, I've been through a theater class, and all the dynamics, all the playful dynamics, the dynamics, the game part, that is also present in RPGs, helped me a lot. I certainly wouldn't be here, I certainly wouldn't be talking as openly without such interventions, which is why I am interested in learning more about them, essentially.
So he's talking about maybe starting online classes next winter quarter 2020, and maybe coming up here in the spring and getting some prereqs. He already has a bachelor's in business administration.
No, economics.
Economics.
The less useful one.
More theoretical, less applied.
Mine's
But-
in business management. Don't feel sad.
Yeah. And then getting those prereqs out of the way spring, and then fall starting on the full TR program for 2 years there. And by the way, I did talk to Emily. Brooke, you'll want to know this. She may start sending, because part of the TR program requirements is you need 1,500 volunteer or work hours related to different populations. So some are without disabilities, some are with disabilities, some are supposed to be youth populations, some are supposed to be senior populations, some with learning disorders, etc. So you're supposed to get exposure to a range of populations as part of your training as a recreational therapist at EWU. Now, not all the universities do that, but EWU is very hands-on applied.
Oh yeah, no, it's part of your being able to sit for the test. So you have 750 hours, however we've doubled it, so that way
Yeah,
you have a
EWU
buffer.
exceeds the minimums by quite a bit. So you have to get these 1,500 hours before. So you need 1,500 hours, finish all your coursework, and do your internship before you can go sit for the certification test.
You can be halfway through your internship.
You can be halfway through your internship and take the test?
Yep.
Oh, that's news to me.
Yep.
How are you doing on getting
I'm
signed
studying.
up for the test? I ordered some. I've got on my Kindle a whole bunch of questions I can run through by it.
I would love that.
Okay, I'll quiz you on that. And then John, she said check out Temple University's online master's TR program. She said that's kind of the template. There's others out there, but that's kind of the main one. And I'll be looking at it as well. I may have to go get my master's in TR because of the degree problem. So, since mine's interdisciplinary psych and neuro, I didn't use it. It doesn't say TR, it says interdisciplinary. It might have a problem. So,
And go straight to the masters.
yeah, save you having to do all that. So anyway,
But you do still have to do the hours and the internship.
yeah. So this Saturday we're training on the RPGSN, how to use it, how to post, how to talk in the forum, how to use the chat room, even when it pops up in annoying ways, but how to deal with that. How to, use your timeline, share with the community. It should not take longer than an hour to help walk everybody through using it. So please, if you can make it to that meeting, that part should only take an hour. Then if you want to opt out after, not be there for whatever applied gaming we're doing
It's me.
for the workshop, yeah. But it would be great if you'd support Danielle on that. But it's really important everybody can log into that if possible. That is this year. So that's going to be Saturday, 11 a.m. to noon for the RPGSN.net training. You don't have to come to the studio. I'll be screen sharing over Jitsi, whichever Jitsi is working at the time. But you'll be able to follow along. While we will probably record it, I don't think we will broadcast that one live because we're going to be sharing the internal intranet. And so I think we'll record it for training purposes to share with our other volunteers, but we're not going to stream that one. And then once that's done, we'll switch to Danielle. Danielle, what are you going to be running?
I'm going to be running as soon as I stick my yarn in my mouth. I'm
I was a server.
Same. I'm going to be running Eves of Mirkwood.
Eves of Mirkwood, Adventures of Middle-earth?
Adventures of
Eves of
Middle-earth.
Mirkwood. Okay, so if you haven't gotten experience with that, or you need to kind of polish up on that, because remember that's one of our tier 1 game offerings to the community, really good chance to get in and get some play experience with that, where you can do so remotely or in person. It's generally better if you can do in person, but that's okay. Dan can't do it in person. He joins remotely. It's better than not participating at all. And I know you can't do Thursdays. What do your Saturdays look like from 11 a.m. to 2?
A lot better than Fridays.
Good. And so if you can make that training, that would be great. We'd love to have you there. And hopefully we get a lot of people to show up. I'm concerned.
And is that at your house, or can you do it remotely?
That one can be, everybody can be remote for that one. But if you want to, for Danielle's game, it's better if at least 3 or 4 or 5 people are here.
I'll be
But
here.
it can be remote. So you might as well show up if you're going to play in Danielle's game. If you're just doing the RPGSN training, then just do it remote. You don't need to come here for that. But if you're going to play, then try to show up. Otherwise, if you can't, then do it remote, so at least you get some training experience. Even if you can't play, at least watch and listen and learn.
Within this first month, I most likely won't be able to attend because I'm busy with some school stuff that's been going on Saturdays. But hopefully past April, I will be able to start attending.
As far as in person?
Yes.
What about remote?
Just in general.
Okay. What about remote this Saturday?
This Saturday, I will be unavailable because I will actually be over in Mountain Vernon for a revolving squad.
Okay. You'll want to definitely then watch the video recording of the RPGSN training at a minimum, and preferably the AIM as well, so you start getting experience with it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Brooke, what do you have on your agenda?
I don't really have much. I did hear from Brienne today.
Oh, okay.
So she should hopefully be reaching out to you.
Okay.
She's still interested. She, it was interesting, but so I'm going to send her the verified volunteer link.
Okay.
And then we just have the training on Saturday. And then I wanted to say hello to Dan, but
he's right here.
Hello. I know, but I can't really see him because that's where my face
That
is.
camera right there.
So.
Just stand up.
Let's see. Let's,
Say welcome to our very, very cold
Computer's your
February.
friend.
Yeah. Yeah, especially out in Cheney, it was really windy, stiff, drifted snow, which is great because last night's Heroes of the Mist, they went off into a blizzard, and now I got a little bit of an idea of what that's like to walk into the wind of the blizzard, and he didn't really know what drifting snow is like, how it's different and powdery. He got to experience that out in Cheney today.
So now I can finally describe a snowscape. So that's a thing.
Exactly.
Have you speaking of verified volunteers, where are we at on getting them paid electronically?
I got an email that I need to forward to you that said we can get this set up somehow. My last week I was insane. I worked 6-7 days in a row. But so it was just a long week, so I didn't really have time to address the email that I got, but I can forward it to you and make sure we get that set up.
Okay. Anything else on your agenda?
No.
Okay, so by the way, Brooke, I've added, there's a different researchers meeting now from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Sundays. That is for the people who can't do the weekdays. So, for example, Angela and others. Oh my! Are those homemade Nutter Butters?
They are. I tested them for poison and I didn't die. But they might be a little too sweet.
Usually.
Double fisting.
Enjoy your meeting.
Thank you.
Ow. What?
Are you just coming and going? That's it?
Yeah, that was all I came for. Thank you.
You want to see around a little bit?
No love. No love.
Thank you very much.
Oh
my
Have a good night, guys.
Thank you, Katie.
Thank you.
Sorry, Brooke. Sorry, Anna.
I'm allergic to nuts anyways.
Oh, good. Then that's the remote. How bad is it? Is it proximity based?
What?
Is it proximity based or just consumption?
Just consumption, and
Okay.
it's technically sensitivity and not an allergy, but I
Right.
found that if you when it's a sensitivity and
Yeah,
instead of saying allergy, they feed it to you anyways.
I'll hold them off.
Yeah, I've got that with walnuts where it gives me a really bad scratchy
Should we give
throat.
him the hug? I don't know if we should give
It
him the
won't
hug.
kill me, but it's
Riley
very
hasn't gotten
unpleasant.
Riley?
Where's Riley?
He's being the house elf behind the computer.
You don't have enough
He's right over here.
And then there's just a little face that pops
A little
out.
farther in.
Who else is there? You guys have a full house today.
We do. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 physical people here.
No, we
Plus
don't.
Katie
We're not
was
playing
here.
cards.
Katie was here briefly, so, and then 2 more there, so that's great. I love seeing this. All the more reason why
We need a
I need to get a warehouse. Because it's going to just keep growing. It's going to get more and more problematic. And my $800 power bill per month. Oh, yeah, it's killing me. It's $900 in the summer when I kick on the air conditioning, and it's turned out to be about $800 for the heaters.
And no, it's gonna be cheaper to
So,
buy another
but
building.
I'm in the
Might be
lee side of
He
a
needs
plateau.
minimum space anyway.
During my studies in Stanford, I met a guy who does energy efficiency things, so I
Mhm.
might be able to talk about it.
It's because we're in a garage.
Yeah.
Which is, and I have insulated the attic, but we're in a garage. The walls are not
The
insulated.
door never
It's a
is.
garage door. There's windows.
Mhm.
It was not meant for this. It was meant to store cars, not people. And we want to get into a warehouse, but we've got to get our donations up. So, speaking of donations, did everybody, because it's too late now that it's the 25th, how many here, raise your hand, did the STCU vote thing? So the STCU had a Who Do You Love thing. I was sending out emails every day, so was Brooke, to say, hey, please vote for us because we could get up to like $5,000 donation from STCU and CREM 2.
I didn't get a single one of those, and I'm a Spokane Teachers member.
Oh, man.
I didn't get a single
Do
one.
you get any of our emails on the volunteer list or anything?
No.
Do you want to be on the list? Maybe you're not on the list because you're not a full-time volunteer.
I thought I signed up for it ages ago, but
We're having an
my
issue.
email didn't end up in it.
Did the camera
Riley,
cut out?
That camera's out.
Yeah, I think because you set that on there, you've unplugged the cable.
Actually, I think it's
This'll
this,
be
So
fine.
fragile.
this camera right there.
Cookies or
There's
cameras?
nothing I can do about
Or
it.
this one, yeah. That one's fine.
So,
Oh, I see. It's not moving.
yeah. Let's see. Let me take a look right
Okay.
now.
So while you're fixing that,
Yes,
Um,
please.
I am currently my fiance found a role playing game that he wanted to play, and he was trying to get me to play it, and I'm totally in. It's called City of Mist,
Drop stuff.
and the PDF is like $10 or something like that. So he bought it, and it has a session 0.
Guys,
It has
when
a
you're talking, nobody can hear because of the microphone.
It has a session 0 with a cooperative group building section.
Okay.
And it's a hero RPG, also a noir RPG.
All right. What's it called?
It's called City of Mist.
But it's PDF only.
No, it's physical copy too.
Oh, okay. All right.
So they're now doing the physical copy because it was so popular on. I do believe this
All
is
right.
how it
So
is
on the RPGSM, can you blog that? Do you know how to do that? You go
Yeah.
and log in, add a blog posting, add the links to it, and it will show up automatically on our front page for the RPGSM.
I need to get my tablet connected to that
Oh,
service. I don't know. It's
I'm
right.
gonna have it out.
It's in here.
Oh, sorry.
All right.
You're good. No, you're fine.
Anyway, so we'll see what happens. So we had a chance to vote every day. You could vote again and again and again for us as a charity to get either $5,000, $2,500, or $1,000, first, second, and third place, basically. At the very least, if enough people voted, hopefully we'll at least be on their radar.
I would have voted if I had
If
seen
you'd
the
known, yes.
message. If I had
Yeah.
known, I would have voted.
Understood.
It was on every form of
And I would have voted for you.
Yeah, and I did what I could. I don't know that enough people did it for us to show up, but at least it was a start. We'll hopefully they do this each year apparently now, so we'll just keep our eyes open for it in the future. Okay, public
We
discussion.
applied for any grants yet?
Brooke?
No.
Now, did you see, Brooke, about the Seattle Give Big link that I posted to you? No audio, Brooke.
Vaguely remember that occurring,
Okay.
but when was that?
Last week I sent the link.
Oh, then I haven't gone in and looked at it.
Okay, because I think the deadline's coming up shortly. But it's another chance that they just give out a whole bunch of money to nonprofits in Washington State. And and you can't do it if you've gotten it before. Same thing with the CREM 2 thing. If you were voted the year before, you can't the next year and stuff, which is great because it gives new people, new organizations opportunities. Okay.
So I was going to go to the puppies and kitties.
I don't know why I did, but I did it.
Now you don't have an @RPG Research email, right? Set up as far as you're not using it, so
I'm not using
even
it,
if you have it set up,
but I
you're
think
not
there
using
might
it.
have been one.
I think you might have one, but I don't think
have
you've ever
one. I
used
don't
it.
think
Yeah.
I've used it.
So let me see if I
I
can
have
direct.
8 email addresses I currently keep track of.
Yeah.
So,
So is it the Kimberly? Is that one? Or is that somebody else? That's a
That's
different
someone
one? It is one of them?
Nope.
That's
Jane
not one.
McCallum
Oh, McCallum? Okay. Let's see.
or
I
Rox
need to
Dene.
take a phone call. I'll be right back.
Can you write it down for me so we're not broadcasting it to it, and I'll put that in there.
Dear stalkers, my email is.
So Brooke, this Friday we are at the corner of Market and Empire in Hilliard for a drop-in RPG with the bus and the trailer. It's right next to the Zips there, right as you kind of the hill zigzags coming up into Hilliard. It's right there, very visible, lots of traffic during rush hour. So that should get lots of visibility. Whether or not anybody pops in, I don't know, but lots of visibility.
Is that where all the snow is piled? Every year?
At the time,
No
it was
recon?
not. At the time, it was pushed all the way to the railroad tracks.
Okay.
It's a dead-end street.
Yeah.
Recon?
It's a what?
Recon?
I reconned it 2 weeks ago when there was snow, but I'll go recon it again.
Because those dead ends are where they had
If worst case, I might beg the Zips people to let me park in their parking lot if they'll let me.
If you want, you can send me on a milk run, shadow run, and I'll go do that.
Maybe I need to bring a flamethrower to melt it all down. You know?
Yeah.
Because I have one of those.
That couldn't possibly go wrong.
Oh, there we go. We're already playing shadow run.
Yeah.
It's not like it's illegal or anything.
Oh, there
Oh no, it's only illegal if you market it as a flamethrower. If it is a brush remover, it is fine.
Or
Snow
snow remover.
Mm-hmm. So it just turns into ice. Is that better?
Street.
ice sculpting tool.
Ice skating rink.
Let's see what else.
As we freeze our tires to the pavement.
Yeah. Completely stuck. I'm trying to melt it out and set the tires on fire. Grand tour.
Mario should not go out.
To go, baby.
So I think that's. Let me see if anybody has any questions in Twitch. Yeah, my laptop's back up and running. Yeah, we've got a nice full group today. Okay. This a little bit. I think that's it. So and then I also so we met with Emily Messina today about his program, but also I talked to her about sending us lots of volunteers to get their hours because everybody in the TR program has to get a lot of hours. So we might be getting an onslaught of temporary volunteers, just so you know. I'm not sure exactly how we're going to work that out with the background checks. We got to talk to Spark Central about that because these people are going to be coming in only briefly, like a few months at a time, and $50 a pop is going to break the bank for that. So we'll have to kind of figure that one out. I don't know if we can work out a deal with the university or something to help have them do the background checks in advance or something like that. That would save us a small fortune. But I want to give you a heads up. Brooke's going to be sending me.
They have to have their own insurance now, so they're liable for themselves
does?
while they're here. Everyone who's doing hours for school.
Really?
Yeah, so
Oh
we
my.
might not even have to get the background check.
Oh.
So
Wow.
because they're liable by their insurance, and we can sue their insurance.
I don't want to go there. Anyway, we may be getting a ton of volunteers for our community
It's true.
programs very soon to help us facilitators, to help with the setup. And it's going to be high turnover, but it's really good practice for those of us that are regulars. And you'll be able to pawn off, once you get an experience, the grunt work to these folks. But they also can become new long-term volunteers if they get
Where
assigned.
were they when we were cleaning the bus?
Running as far away as possible. Now, I did this back before with Tolkien MERPCon, where I had like half a dozen volunteers show up with conventions and stuff to rack up their hours and such. So, anyway, that's in the near pipe. Also, Emily is trying to make it so that every class that's related to TR has a partner business to let them apply that quarter in the real world what they're learning that quarter.
Oh, that's cool.
So she's got one organization so far, and I went, well, what are the requirements for an organization to get on that list? And she's like, it's not that hard. First, start with the independent volunteering thing, and then work up from there. So this could be really helpful because we could get a whole influx of volunteers that way. So just so you know, that was a very productive meeting today.
Thank you, Emily, if you're watching this.
She's not.
You never know.
She's way too busy. Any comments on that, Brooke?
No, that's exciting. I will have to get you more information. The big United Way Spokane thing that happens in April, where they bring in a lot of volunteers for projects, and it's like a community-wide, businesses participate. They have mini grants available up to $500 to support projects, where we'd have to request a certain amount of volunteers and request money for a project if we wanted to. We'd have to talk about whether or not we even qualify, or if we have something we could have like a group of volunteers do at one time.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know that we have, like, if we had something like the MDA camp coming up, then that would be something. But the only thing I have brewing is the role-playing gaming for incarcerated populations project this year.
Well, it'd be more like if we needed to work on the bus or
move
like
the studio,
catalog stuff, or stuff that manual labor that we can just make people do.
Yeah, if I could get enough money coming in to get the warehouse, then we would need help to move much of this stuff to the warehouse or something. Yeah. By the way, we have a Doctor Who kit now added to the RPG research kits. We've got a pretty complete kit with some very nice fancy dice. These are actual professional casino dice. They weren't that much more expensive than regular dice for the set by buying them bulk. And they're bright, really, they really stand out. And they're really good for visual impairment. And they have shown up. Oh, that's the tidbit.
Dots!
So we got a shipment from Dots RPG Project. These are the wonderful folks over in the East Coast who are making Braille dice and Braille character sheets and things like that, and Braille Adventures trying to.
You're holding up nothing because it's green.
No, it's the invisible green dragon. I got it holding me, holding me pocket.
Don't let
the green screen, the chroma is making it invisible.
That's funny.
That is funny. And we have 4 different, because it's green.
Look, we have all kinds of
4 sizes of invisible dragons. That is, I gotta turn off the chroma.
Here, look at this.
This one's
you
not.
can see it.
Look at this,
It's
nothing.
the right color, isn't it? Look, that one's kind of there.
See, I can't see which camera.
Invisible dragons.
What's it called?
It's the cameras. I want to turn off the filter chroma. Off. There we go. All right, now middle camera should be able to see it.
There we go. Oh, yeah.
So that's the big one. And
Here, you got more hands here. We got the smaller and the smaller.
this camera. This camera.
This camera?
Yeah. See? Itty bitty. Aren't they cute? Aren't they so cute? That's their mascot. So they kindly sent us 4 different sizes. Yeah, this is the same printer they use to make their wonderful dice, their Braille dice. They also sent us, Dots Candy, but with their logo and everything on it. So that's a gimmick, yeah. And they kindly sent us, because I think they're partnered with Die Hard Dice, these really nice metal dice.
Which are also very
They're
sharp.
very nice.
Pass them around. Make sure they all come back. You're welcome to take it out. Yeah, check them out. So thank you. This is Jess at RPG Dots. They are awesome people. Check them out. They're on Twitter. They're on their website, rpgdots.com. They are also forming a 501c3, so help them by joining their Patreon and help donate to them so they can cover their 501c3 costs. They've talked about maybe joining their board. We'll see if that happens. I would gladly do so to help them because of my previous background. These are donations from RPG Dots.
Okay.
Yeah, and so they're doing a great job to try to improve accessibility. They also help D&D Beyond, are helping them because they're also web developers, to make their website more accessible to people with visual impairments and such. So we're very grateful to them, and there's a great relationship there. And I met her We've been talking back and forth over the internet for some time, also the previous founder of the project, but we met at PAX Unplugged in Philadelphia back in November, December. So that was nice that arrived. What else? Well, there's a lot going on. I think I got to wrap up the admin part here, though. Brooke, anything else you can think of?
No, I'm looking at the Seattle Give Big thing.
Yes.
I'll write up a brief summary of what it means.
Wonderful.
And send it to you.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Anna, do you have any questions?
No.
Any comments on what you've been hearing so far?
She has so many comments, she has to refer to her notes.
It's more so trying to interpret my notes.
Okay.
I just want to stand here.
That I can think of.
Okay. So we're gonna go ahead, and if there's nothing else on the admin side, I'm sure there's something we forgot, but oh well.
Oh, just as soon as it gets here, I'm going to be donating one of those complete Book of Villains. You know.
Yes.
So as soon as
cool.
it gets here, I will be donating it to RPG Research.
Wonderful. Awesome.
And developing a course for that. For what we were talking about for the higher level GM training.
Right. Who are creating campaigns at GM level 2 or whatever.
Yes.
Yes.
I have a
Awesome.
question.
Yes.
So, with all the new volunteers that you're talking about from for
EW.
Yeah.
Mhm.
They wouldn't happen to be coming to this room with everyone else when you say there's
No,
gonna be
we're
an
talking about the community program.
Just making sure so we don't have an onslaught of volunteers in a room that's full right now.
Although she did say training hours could count towards their hours.
Okay.
But at that point, we might really have to have more people remote than I'd really care for. Again, all the more reason why we need a warehouse.
Yeah.
But we got to get our donations up before we can afford.
Or at least a conference room.
I mean, this is already conference room size. Conference room's not going to be any bigger than this. I mean, other than the other side of the table here. But I've been finding warehouses in the $600 to $800 a month range, which is in a stretch what I could afford if I didn't have to keep paying the utility bills of $800, $900 a month. You know, normally my power and gas is $100 and $200 a month instead of $700 to $900 a month. So if you split the difference, that's what I could afford for a warehouse. I'm nervous about doing that all under my name and everything. Just it's a stretch for me financially. It'd be much better if we could get RPG Research to have enough donations so we can get to the point where we can move this stuff out of my house. I mean, we've got an office downtown, but that's a virtual office. It's very inexpensive. We can spend more. We can't keep stuff there, right? We can go there and run programs, but we can't keep stuff there. We need somewhere that we can park the bus and the trailer and set up and broadcast and all that. And $600, $800 a month is not unreasonable for about a 2,000 square foot space that has a little bit of office space and then the rest is warehouse, which is exactly what we need at this point. And then we would be able to handle larger groups and activities and LARPs and drum circles and all of that.
Everyone should subscribe to Twitch like me.
Worst case, if all these people start to show up, we would go back to
Downstairs?
doing downstairs for some of the larger activities. I'd set up cameras down there and here, and we would do tabletop here or down there, drum circles down there. I can make it work in my house, but I'm getting married 4th of July. She's not moving in right away, but
Thank you, Kitty.
but at some point I've got to move this out of my house before she moves in, because she's not cool with all of this being here. She would like to be able to park her car in the garage. I've been willing to not have my vehicle in the garage because it's me. I can sacrifice. She's not going to be okay with that. So when she sells her house and moves in, by then we've got to have this moved to some kind of warehouse. If I have to do it out of my own pocket, I will, but it will be a financial strain, and it will make it harder for me to keep doing some of these programs. So all the more reason we need to get our donations up, so that RPG Research is that much more self-sufficient. We're only bringing in regularly $120-something a month right now through Patreon. We get influxes through Facebook and PayPal and other things. We got $5 from Amazon Smile, but it's something. And so altogether, we brought in $3,200 last year between people doing birthday or no, what was it?
It was closer to 7 because we brought in
You were closer to what?
5. It was closer to 5. We brought in a bunch.
3,500?
No,
5 what?
5,000.
No.
Yeah, because we spent a bunch. Like the $1,000 wasn't added in that, and that we spent on kits. And
No, when we did the taxes, it was 3,000 something. That's what it added up to. Don't
That's what
count
we
2
had.
years. Don't count 2 years. Don't lump 2
No.
years together.
No, that's what we had in the bank.
We had in the bank 2,000.
Okay, then it is 3,500.
Yeah. Yeah, about
It's-
32 to 3,500. Anyway,
We spent about half of what
Yeah.
we got it.
You're
Right.
scaring me.
So anyway, we got to get those donations up so that this can become more self-sufficient. I mean, I will keep it going indefinitely, but it would be much better if it's a self-sufficient entity, and I'll have a much happier spouse.
Since corporations are people, and we're doing so poorly, can we get food stamps?
Food stamps won't get us a warehouse.
All right.
We got the snap
So,
for the election.
yeah, Brooke, I look forward to that brief. Let's go ahead and wrap up the admin meeting here, and we're going to switch to Applied Gaming with GM Carla and Dr. Who. So, thank you, everybody. And so we're going to stop this recording. We'll keep the stream going, although I'm going to switch screens. And then we'll be right back with Dr. Who. Take care, Brooke. Thanks for everything.
Take care, Brooke.
We'll have to head out. My apologies.
Oh, bummer.